Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 Update and News. So first off, we did have a patch today that reportedly cleaned up a whole bunch of crashes, so make sure you guys test those things that have been affecting your crashed desktops. I haven't had too many yet. I was able to successfully get into the Mooney and use the vertical speed today without any crashes. However, I know that others were still struggling with it last week, so I don't know if this is something that's affecting certain systems, so you might want to try it out. One of the other big changes today, they said there was another improvement to the photogrammetry development, or I should say implementation of the aircrafts while you're flying. So this may affect FPS and it may not affect FPS. So the thing that you have to remember with FPS is not everything is necessarily going to impact it. What you could be seeing, don't mistake stuttering for frame rate loss. Okay, you may not gain any frames, but those frames that you are getting, may be significantly smoother. So make sure you guys keep an eye on that. Okay. The other thing that we saw was the A320 fuel consumption has been resolved, as well as a couple of the other airliners. I haven't seen much in the way of fixing to the autopilots. However, the other thing that I did see was that the A320 yaw effect was adjusted, so it hopefully she doesn't sway left to right as much anymore. I haven't had a chance to fly her yet in detail. That is something that I will be working on later this evening and give you guys a further report back on. With the photogrammetry changes, I do also recommend once again to take a look at your graphic settings and see if you can possibly squeeze some more visual quality out, as that's obviously what we're all looking for in the end, while maintaining the performance. To some of the other scenery updates, there was a further update to the USA World add-on. So make sure you guys go back and check some of the scenery locations that you may have not been so pleased with in the previous update. Further adjustments today do include the air rack nav data cycle has been updated once again to cycle 13, so that's always good. That means that those of you who do not have the Navigraph subscription can get the latest nav data when doing the flight plans inside the simulator. Obviously a big advantage there, and I hope that Microsoft continues to do so, or I should say Asobo, whoever is actually responsible for getting that data to us. That's a big deal for a simulator like this, given the fact that with all the other simulator platforms we've had to pay for just that subscription in order to get the latest in nav data information. So let's give a big round of applause to Asobo for keeping that up to date. I wasn't expecting an update to that so soon. Other updates today include that buildings and their height textures have been adjusted to be more realistic. So buildings that were skyrocketing into the sky or just far too large for where they should be have been adjusted. Now, I'm sure that doesn't mean that that's going to be every single building that you have available to us, but just the fact there's some changes means that they're working on it, and that's nice to see. And this is primarily my understanding with the auto gen features. So any of your photorealistic textures that you may have installed, your third-party sceneries, I doubt were particularly affected by that patch, as it's using a separate texture, so I don't think there's anything to worry about there. The next piece of information I want to give you guys a heads up on is if you are having trouble with your A320 release, if you're using the A32NX mod, give the development version a shot. When I first launched the simulator today using the A32NX, all of these screens were dark and were unusable. However, I simply went into the development version, updated it to today's release, and everything came back to life and is working as expected. Now, obviously, with the development version, you may run into some bugs or odd behavior, and that's just something that we have to deal with when using anything that's a development version, as it's basically a beta. So just keep an eye out for a release on the stable release if that's something that you guys are unwilling to do when using the A32NX mod by fly-by-wire. I do highly recommend, however, you do use the fly-by-wire development version, as one of the biggest advantages to it is they have fixed all of the autopilot issues that we were currently experiencing after the latest patch. Everything is working as good as can be according to my last flight. I flew the A320 night before last, and everything was working fantastic. So I'm sure that they're going to maintain that, and at the rate that team provides patches and updates to the A32NX, You just can't go wrong. Even if you do run into a severe bug, I guarantee it won't be around very long. And I've been using the development version, speaking on that for a moment, since the start of the A32NX, since they first made the development version available. And I have yet to ever run into what I would call a game-breaking issue with the A32NX. I mean, they're really doing some fantastic work, and if the A320 is something you guys would like to fly, I highly, highly recommend it. Okay? And in aircraft news today, we have the Aerosoft CRJ is nearing completion. Now, by nearing completion, it sounds like within the next couple of months, according to the article here on msfsaddons.com. You can see some screenshots of the texturing that is being done, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Beta testing has already begun. Unfortunately, the beta is closed to real pilots only, and I believe are not taking any new testers on board. However, according to the article here in the release information from Aerosoft, we will be getting the 550 and 700 series variants, with the 900 and 1000 coming shortly after. Always good to read that upgrades will be easy and cheap. I have to agree with this statement, 2 words that anyone can appreciate. But as you can see from the detail and the imagery showing here on the website, it's going to be a very, very nice looking aircraft and seems like a very capable aircraft. I'm very excited to see this. We can see obviously checklist, performance, aircraft settings, and maintenance and other options are going to be available by the tablet available inside the cockpit of the aircraft. I'm really curious to see what they're going to have available for us. I mean, if you guys just sort of take a peruse at what's behind here, that can be a lot of pretty awesome stuff here. So really excited about that. The CRJ series will be a fun aircraft to fly, especially if you like the little puddle jumps, which I tend to like. I like the shorter airline. I love flying the airliners, but some of the big longer flights, once you get up to cruise altitude, I hope you got something else to do with your time because they can get rather boring. Anyway, so let's move on. As for the last piece of news that I wanted to share with you guys here, the Aerosoft A2A is bringing the Aerostar to the simulator. Unfortunately, there is very limited information available at this current time, but you can see here the owner of the November 122, Papa Charlie, is using his own aircraft to bring the realism and detail to the sim that we cannot see anywhere else, according to the article here on msfsaddons.com. Some light texture work you can see down below. However, not much else is available, but something cool to look forward to. That's going to be a nice addition to our simulating experience. All right, you guys, and that brings an end to today's episode. If you guys enjoyed this episode and would like further updates and news as well, please let me know down in the comments below. I know I don't normally do any news per se, but if that's something that you guys would like me to continue doing, I'll be more than happy to. Please just let me know down below. As always, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, guys. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining my Patreon site, as every little bit absolutely helps and is greatly appreciated. I know these times are very tough for everybody right now, so I wish you all the best. Please stay safe, stay healthy through these holidays. I hope all families and loved ones are doing well. My heart is out to you all, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, folks.